What's going on, world? If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Making It Make Sense with Isaiah, Jasper, and Theo. Make sure you go hit that like button, subscribe, and rate us on Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. We put out new episodes weekly, so you want to make sure you don't miss a single thing. And while you're there, you can also leave us a comment or two. Or, if you want to reach us more directly, you can DM us on our official Instagram at Making It Make Sense with IJT, or you can also email us at makingitmakesensewithIJT@gmail.com. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Making It Make Sense with Isaiah, Jasper, and Theo. Tonight we have a very special guest, our brother, Mr. RJ. Welcome.
Woo.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome, RJ.
Thank
We're so
you.
excited you're here.
I am so
Yes.
excited to be in the building, especially with my brothers.
Yes.
Y'all already know. If you know, you know.
Yep.
You know,
Reunited, and it feels
so good. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I like that. If you know, you know.
If
So-
you
If
know,
you know,
you
you know.
know.
I mean, I'm hashtagging that when I promote this.
Yes,
Hashtag
no,
if you know,
that's
you know.
great. I love
If
that.
you know, you know.
If you know, you know. 100%.
No more
So
sure
to-
words than
So
that.
today we're going to just have a conversation with RJ about masculine energy or feminine energy, and what attracts people to masculine or feminine energy, and what's people's preference.
Mm.
So should we start with Isaiah? Tag, you're in.
Yeah, let's start with Isaiah first.
See,
Let me
y'all
get
be. So for, I guess I should start with, I guess my identity, wherein it comes to or regards to masculine versus feminine energy. So for me, and just within my queerness, I think that obviously in a physical manner, I show up as, masculine, but I think that there are aspects that are very feminine. For me, that starts, just really in childhood. I grew up around, a lot of women and a lot of really important, strong Black female figures in my life. And so I definitely feel heavily influenced by that. Which I have to say I'm really proud of, because for me, while masculine energy is very powerful, female energy is very powerful and full of life as it gives unto life, right? So there's something really special about those energies kind of coming together and painting the way I present myself to the world. As far as in relationships and preference, I walk kind of a thin line. And I remember I was having this conversation, and RJ, I want to hear, we want to hear your thoughts on this too, but I was having this conversation kind of offline with Jasper and Theo about, like what I find attractive and something that I gravitate toward. And so for me, I find a healthy mix of both. And obviously maybe a little bit leaning toward the masculine side, right? But I honestly enjoy it showing up in a person that I'm attracted to, or that I love in my case and in my marriage, that there's a perfect kind of intersectionality of both. So someone that, obviously that I love and want to be with, but also that I can kiki with and laugh with and joke with, almost as if, it's a best friend, that you're laughing around with. So I need the perfect mashup of both. What about you guys?
Mm. Well, I present very masculine, but I'm a queen, and no,
Okay, sis. All right.
no.
I didn't know, Theo. I did not know.
Okay.
Masculine in the streets, queen in the sheets.
Okay.
No. I'm joking.
No.
But I'm masculine presenting, and and I think that's because I was raised around a lot of men as well, my brothers, and when I am in a relationship, or the relationship I'm in, I've always noticed that I've always been more masculine than the partners I've been with, if that makes sense. Like my boyfriend isn't all that masculine. No, he isn't all that masculine, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable around feminine energy or feminine men or feminine. I'm comfortable with that. I find it attractive. I find it interesting. I find it that it needs to be protected, because sometimes it's very dismissed and shamed. Yes. And but I like the feminine energy. So I don't know. What about you, Jasper?
Me.
Talk about Queen Jasper next.
Because I'm not a queen at all, honey. The queen. I'm a mixture of both. I'm a mixture. I'm not. Child, no. I'm a mixture of both. But but as far as like dating, like masculine, I need a king. I need someone strong, because I'm not to deal with. So I need somebody that can handle my mouth, because I need somebody to put me in check when I need to be checked. I very attractive. Somebody just strong, masculine, and dominant. Especially in the bedroom, I need that. I need dominance. I need to be controlled. So yeah.
RJ, what about you?
As far as relationships are concerned, I don't mind for my guy to be, in between. So I would say in between, like with the masculine energy, feminine energy, and also more masculine. That's just what I would prefer. I think that I present in between as well. And I don't know, like, yeah, I think I kind of identify like in between, and I kind of give like a bit of both energies at the same time. Yeah.
Like the perfect intersection of both, kind of. Yeah.
Which is okay. None of us are really that interesting anymore, because now you have, non-binary and folks who
I'm
are
always interesting. I'm always interesting.
And folks who are pansexual and all that stuff, who prefer, they can date anyone as long as, their soul is what matters. Like, we don't fall in those lines, but we seem to be very vanilla nowadays.
In a sense, but then I think also there's another layer to that. I think, because I mean, let's ask, what is interesting? Is interesting only, the media or public perception as they learn something, right? Or because they don't, it's not something widely discussed maybe until a little bit more recently, you know what I mean? Because I think as we dig back, into history, like this, I kind of learned this in Hawaii, that they're actually represented as they're like a third. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but so I apologize to anyone like a third gender.
Yeah.
So it's the mashup of male and female energies.
Right.
And so I find that interesting, but I also am kind of like, okay, these are technically, if you really think about it, these aren't new concepts. They're just new to us because if we think about it in the grand scape of the world, we're babies. You know what I'm saying? Like when it really comes to it, in all the years that humanity has been on this earth, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things we we're still coming to learn in our generation and in our lifetime, but it doesn't necessarily mean that those things have not existed before. Great example, you know, in the days, you know, in the days of Rome and things like that, you know, being genderqueer and you know, being queer and things of that nature, you know, maybe not referred to as queer or genderqueer at that time, but those things, it was natural. You know, it was just part of, okay, this is something that happens. I think now in this generation and in this time in the world, we're dissecting things with a more fine-tooth comb, because as you move through the different periods of the world, there's always a set of people, or always a space in the generation where they're like, well, what is this? Or I don't understand this. And not understanding something, ignorant of something, sometimes turns into, okay, well, we just don't like this, or we are against this because this is not considered the norm, in quotes. You can't see me.
Or maybe better, this makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because
right.
feminine men make people uncomfortable.
I think the comfortability of it all is a great point. I mean, like when I started like my journey early on, you know, coming out to be who I was, I found myself trying to be more masculine. I wanted to kind of like to fit into what society's perception was supposed to be of me, you know, as a Black man. And the funny thing is that I learned something interesting. I was so busy trying to be masculine and trying to be appropriate for the people around me. But then I found that the more quote unquote feminine guys, they were the ones that were getting the men. And I was just like, okay, well, honey, I'm trying to be butch. I'm sitting here trying to be butch and trying to be like the trade. But the entire time, my feminine friends, you know, they're the ones that are nabbing these men. I was like, so I need to switch this up. It just not switch it up, but just be myself.
Right.
You know, because that energy, call it feminine energy, whatever you want to call it, that energy of just me wanting to be my total, complete self was inside of me. And I was concealing that with overdoing the masculinity component, you know?
Right.
But the older I got, the more I realized, you know, just be yourself. Be yourself. No matter if it presents masculine or female, just be yourself. And I found that to be where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
You know, where you found freedom.
Yeah, where I found my freedom, and where I really that's when I really started to grow. You know, when I just let all of that go, when I just let the whole being masculine for my family and friends to make people comfortable and all that, when I let all of that go and that idea go, then I really started to grow as a person.
Well, you know, I grew up thinking like, because when I was younger, I didn't really have images of how you should present as a queer person in the world.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then the images that I did see did not fit my personality. Like, I remember one of my first images was, where you guys remember Tu Wong Fu?
Yes. Thank you for everything, Julie Newar.
Yeah, you guys better remember.
Of course.
And I'm not old enough, but they're old enough to remember.
You know what, Jasper?
It would be Jasper without some shade. Okay.
I remember watching that image though, and then, you know, seeing Wesley Snipes, and I was like, oh, that's funny, but you know, I'm not that guy.
Right.
I don't feel that way. And then when I will see, I remember watching Boys Don't Cry, and was learning about being transgender or gender fluid and things of that nature. I was like, oh, okay, I get that, but you know, that's not me. Or seeing Will and Grace and seeing Jack, the most prominent character there, be feminine and flamboyant, and also society expecting that of some people as well.
Right.
I was like, that's not me either.
Right.
And I had to go through a personal discovery and a personal journey to understand what it is that I felt comfortable with, what I embrace, and what I want going forward. and where I found my freedom. And I found my freedom where I am right now.
Freedom.
And I found my voice.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Come on, boys. Come on, find that boys. I know that's right.
I do think that it's, it takes time. It takes time to find the perfect balance. Just talking, or arguing, we were talking about coming out.
Yeah.
I came out originally, like when I first came out, I came out as bisexual.
Okay.
Jasper, that one's supposed to be a laugh track.
I'm sorry.
Really?
But I love his laugh, so it's all right. But no.
You did?
But I did.
Theo.
But I'm going to explain why. So the reason for that was, for me, it felt like the best thing to do was to ease out of the closet, if that makes any sense. Like, let's put one foot out of the closet. Right. Straddle the fence a bit.
Now give him the whole closet at the same time.
Right. Like, let's not just give him the whole closet, just swing it open, And so I figured that for me, and I say that because that for me was kind of walking the line of femininity and masculinity. That was also uneducated Isaiah at the time, because I was learning about myself and about the queer community, that's not towing the line. You know what I mean? Like it's more complex than that. It's not just like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to come out as bisexual so then I can walk in both my masculine and feminine energies. You're not really doing that. You're just being dishonest with yourself, really.
Mm-hmm.
But and not to say, let me be clear, blanket statement that bisexuality is valid, and that is its own part of our set of letters of LGBTQ+. And so each one of those letters is their own experience. But just for me personally, it was easier for me to walk out and show up in that first, and then go, okay, like, I'll get there,
Go ahead. That's a hell of a journey.
Sorry, I had to pause for a minute.
No, it is a journey.
It was, and the thing is, it semi-quickly segued into, okay, I don't think I want to kiss girls anymore.
Not like this.
I moved right out of that Katy Perry moment. Right out of that. And it very much became that experience where I just went, okay, this is something I'm trying on, which I think in retrospect, if I look back, because I think it's also really important to, when you're finding your space and what energies are what, right? It's important to look back also, and to be able to call yourself out on things like that and go, wait a second, wait a minute. Me coming out in bisexuality is also, and this is for me, I checked myself and I went, okay, I also want to make sure that I'm not erasing that experience and that sexuality for someone else, because I was trying it on, right? So then as I got older, obviously, I went, okay, well, you know what? Like, I can sashay Shantae and embrace the femininity that's in me, right? And I can also embrace the masculinity and what I love about that, because there's so much to love about across the gender lines there, So it's important to be able to love and celebrate both of those things about yourself. And to also not let society, it's hard not to, let's keep it 100. Do I walk into certain spaces and my voice gets a little deeper? 110%. Absolutely. Because it's almost internal, where it'll just happen. Do I go into another space where, hey, say I'm with my girlfriends, I'm just like, oh, hey girl, like, or whatever. Absolutely. Other times I'll walk into and be like, hey, what's going on, man? Just turn it on and off, like, really quick. Because it's kind of like, it's almost, and that's why I say, for us as queer Black men, when we show up in our intersectionality, we really show up in our intersectionality in that space, because we are minorities in both spaces and marginalized communities in both spaces. And so we are responsible for code switching twice many a times. Yeah. So You know what I mean? We're responsible. So you have to code switch, professionally, and then when you're in your personal life, and then even in your personal life sometimes, like depending on, well, if you haven't taken out the trash, then you have to code switch in your personal life. And then sometimes in your, whether that be in your queer or in your Blackness, you have to code switch in both spaces, sometimes for safety, unfortunately. So
when do you guys remember, this is a good question for you, RJ, when do you remember not having to code switch anymore in your personal life?
Yes.
When do I remember not having to code switch? Not having to. Okay, I felt like maybe around the age of maybe 28, 29, much later. Because I'm now 33. Yeah, I mean, because before I felt like, if I talked to someone, like somebody that I liked, the guy that I liked, or if I was in certain spaces, I felt like I had to present masculine, or else, I would like, I just didn't want to offend. I wanted to come across as being, of the norm or whatever, what have you. But in all actuality, when it came to like my real speaking voice, it's a little, like it's it's deep, but it's not super deep. It's not as deep as I could really make it.
Yeah.
So I really didn't feel comfortable until like, 28, 29 to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to speak the way that I speak in all areas of my life and not try to switch up my voice for anybody. I'm just going to use this true, my true natural voice for in every area of my life and not have to code switch at all.
How about you, Jasper?
Yeah.
With me, I couldn't code switch if I tried because I had the most feminine call. So even when I rock the deepest voice that I have, it didn't work because I would naturally go back to the tone. And I love my voice. I love what God gave me. I rock it because I think I have a beautiful voice.
Absolutely.
When I talk on the phone with people, they love them. They love how I sound. People tell me, I love how you talk. I love the sound of your voice. So I love it. And I feel like, I had to embrace that as I got older because, when I was younger, I was always teased about, oh, you sound like a girl. You have a girl voice. You have a feminine voice. And I'm like, well, damn, God gave it to me. I had to get to point to myself to be like, you know what? God created this voice. He gave me this voice. I like it. They don't like it. Then tell them take it up with Him. So that's what I would say to people. If you don't like what I sound like, that's a personal problem that you have. Take it up with God because this is what He gave me, and I'm rocking with it.
That's right.
Okay, that's
good.
That's right. You say that's a you problem.
Yeah, and men love it. So look, they love how I sound. So hey, I love what I got. The men love how I sound. So look,
Jasper said the puppies love it.
Yeah, they love it. So yeah, give it to them.
Hello. How about you, Isaiah?
Oh wow. I'd say honestly, probably also the latter half of my 20s, maybe even the first half of my 30s. Really? I'm a firm believer for me, this isn't everyone's experience, but I'm a firm believer that coming into your 30s, there is a new level of comfort and understanding. Really? You very much feel, I feel that way. I feel very much like there's a lot more clarity.
Yeah.
And you sit in your truth more staunchly. You sit kind of in it like, this is who I am. Yes, I can always progress and grow and learn more, right? Because given new information, it's okay to change the way that you react to and that you digest and that you emote on things. So that's okay too. But it's just, for me, I just felt like, okay, there's no better time than the present. Why do I not, And also because I kind of I touched on this a little bit, just even in the episode we did about high school, like, the same way that I wish I could go back and tell high school Isaiah that there is deep value in your Blackness is the same way that I wish I could go back and tell, younger Isaiah and high school Isaiah and early 20s Isaiah. And sometimes that I was, I was being a little wild and still, loving my life. But like, I wish I could still go back and say, hey, there's value in your queerness.
Yes.
There's value in the femininity in you, and there's value in the masculinity in you. There's value in all of those pieces because they all work together to make you who you are. So there's value in all of that. Yeah, I don't think I found my cadence in that, and stopped having the code switch until the last couple of years. I'd say the last 5 or 6 years, 100%. And I think, it's, again, like I said earlier, it takes time because, it depends on your personal climate and the way that the pieces on your chessboard look, because everybody's looks different. It depends on the boat that you're in. Everybody's is different. I think as a community, and especially, for the queer community, I feel like we're not technically, yes, we face a lot of the same challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that everybody's in the same boat, but not using the same types of paddles or the same types of equipment to get where they need to go, right? We've heard that kind of anecdote before. And so I was, working with a different set of it. I think, honestly, like, I'm going to say this, I feel like I had and I'm not going to say entirely because it was definitely fraught with things, but I had a pretty charmed coming out experience with my friendships and even in professional spaces. I don't feel like I got a lot of pushback, and I don't feel in those spaces. Again, in other spaces, yes, that's another story. But like, yes, but I don't think it made it a little easier for me to come into the place I'm in now because I've had so much support in that sense. So.
Wait, let me know before you ask your raggedy ass question.
No, it's a question.
Not raggedy ass question.
Don't do my question with your shitty question. Don't do your shitty ass question.
Look at Theo coming through with the shade
today.
No, Jasper, I'm joking. No.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, Isaiah said is mentioned coming out. So like, y'all can see y'all coming to experience like a magical thing, or was it an embarrassing thing, or was it like, what do y'all consider y'all?
For me, okay, so we're changing the topic a little bit, but I'm fine to hop on this topic. For me, I can say that I don't feel like I really came out. I didn't have, a posting online. I didn't have a sit-down meeting with my family. I didn't have, this big dinner that's, none of that happened to me. How my mom started to discover things, that was embarrassing because one thing that happened was that my brother, he went into my room one day to take my PlayStation, to take it to his room. And he as he was getting the PlayStation, you got to unplug it. He unplugged it from behind my dresser, and he found some porn, gay porn. Yeah,
beautiful.
And he gave it to me. He gave it to my mom. He gave it to my mom. And I came home from school, and she was on the phone. She was like, "Girl, let me call you back." So then she was like, "RJ, come here." So I was like, "Yes." And I followed her to her room, and she went to her closet, no pun intended. And she picked up these porno videotapes. And she said, "RJ, what is this?" And y'all, I could have died. To see my mom grabbing like gay porn with all the, all the stuff on the front box and the back of it.
With the gusto.
Imagine that sight, right? I'm mortified. So I'm just like, that's porn. She was like, "Yeah, but it's gay porn." I was like, yeah. I was like, I know. She was like, "RJ, what are you doing with this? I was like, well, I wanted to know how they did it too, you know? And
Right.
she was like, what? So it was embarrassing. So if I had a coming out story, I think that would be the closest to it.
Right.
After that, we never really talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I never went around and told my family, hey, y'all know I'm gay, right? You know, none of that. Just,
It's a thing.
you know, it was just like, if you heard through the grapevine, then you heard. If you didn't, then speculate, honey, whatever. But yeah, so that was my whole
But
coming out,
for
but not coming
me,
out.
the code switching and the coming out, like I stopped code switching since even, God knows, like maybe 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Wow.
stopped code switching because I don't give a fuck about you motherfuckers and what the fuck you thought about me.
Now that is knowing yourself.
Yeah, but I've
He didn't
been
have
not.
hard either. He didn't have hard to go with the code switching.
No, so I yeah, well that's true. But since 12 years old, I've had this energy that I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So
the OG don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like
hashtag go fuck yourself.
Hashtag go fuck yourself.
But Theo, I must say that you saying that at 14 you have the energy of I don't give a fuck. That's one thing. Because at 14, I didn't give a fuck. Your level of not giving a fuck was to a deeper degree. Because I didn't give a fuck in the way where I was like, I'm not going to try to present as someone who's pretending to like girls.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to do that. So therefore, there came the questioning, you know, where's my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, I'm not going to lie about who I am. But still with me being truthful to who I was, I still found the need to modify my behaviors and my voice and what have you. Mm-hmm. So it's like I'm going to present this way. See, because it's like one avenue I took of not giving a fuck was just presenting to myself as who I am. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, like, yeah, I'm gay, whatever. But then there was another element that was I wasn't totally embracing who I was.
Right.
Because I was modifying who I was at the same time. Right. You know, still presenting, hey, yeah, this is me, but also making people comfortable by changing my voice tone or, you know, walking a certain way or sitting a certain way, you know. So there's
Isn't that exhausting?
It's exhausting as
Super
hell.
exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Wow.
It's like being multiple. It's like being multiple people. Like honestly, like you're being more than who you need to be. You know, in your life almost. You know.
And I lived in a world, and it's a burden I realized it's a burden that I realized at 14 I didn't want to carry.
Right.
Is a burden that at 16, when I fully came to myself and it was like, ooh, you queer little motherfucker. I was like, I don't want to carry that burden. In every space that I occupy, I want to leave an essence or an aura or an energy of my true authentic self.
So
it's easy for you.
I want to ask you, like,
because I feel like him being masculine, I feel like it's easier to have that kind of energy. Like for me, for me as someone who's like femme, that kind of gives more femme energy. For me, I feel like it's not easy for me. I'm saying for myself, just have that attitude, because it's like you just say, "Oh, I'm gonna be me," and fuck everybody else, because I hear the stuff that I had to hear at that age was horrible stuff. So like for you, I feel like it was maybe more easier because you presented masculine, that you were kind of accepted by the cisgender people easier than myself would be accepted.
Right. There was no eyebrows raised because you presented as masculine. I mean, you presented as masculine and you were firm in it. And I think it was a little bit different for us, you know, because early on in my childhood, oh, you sound like a girl. Oh, you act like a girl. And even when it came to my teen years, and early adulthood, I felt like I was spared. You know, how am I going to fit into into all of this? How is this going to unfold for me? Because this is who I am. And no, I'm not trying to be anything other than who I'm presenting to you. You know, because a lot of the times people would say, oh, you're trying to be a female, or you're trying to be this, and you should stop it, you know. So it's a lot of ridicule and a lot of, you know, just...
And go fuck yourself is my favorite. No, but I do understand the privilege, and I understand the luxury that I had because I'm what people like to say, quote unquote, passable.
Right.
Very passable.
Yeah, there's a privilege. There's a privilege to masculine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's why when I discover female energy and I am around female energy, because of that privilege, it's my job to uplift that and protect that.
Absolutely.
And highlight that because of what society has done.
And one thing I want to add to Theo is, you know, I just want to, like, to me, like, I just want to express this as well, that it is really amazing, though, that because very much so, I feel like when you present as masculine or you're passable in that sense, there are men that won't realize that privilege and execute it the correct way and use it to protect those that cannot or do not show up that way. And so I have to say, like, I have there's a pride from me to you in the fact that you show up that way and that you know and understand that privilege and that you use it and you wield it to protect others that might be shamed for being more feminine or for being female in any capacity. So
not on my watch.
Come on, Pride. Come on, Pride.
I remember here in New York on a train, there was a group of feminine kids or gender nonconforming kids. And there were these toxic masculine males making fun of them, calling them all sorts of faggots and sissies and I'm gonna beat your ass. So I got on the train and I felt that energy and I heard it. So I told the kids, hey, you know, let me sit right here. And I told them, you gonna make fun of us. And I told them, don't worry, I'm down with one of the letters. I'll let you know which one later. and I sat there and I asked these kids, where are you getting off? Because I'm getting off with you. And I make sure that I got off with those kids. And I let them know I am as queer as you. But if they were going to do something, I was going to beat the fuck out of all of them. Because it's not going to happen on my watch. And that's when I realized, like, you know, we have to stand up for those who sometimes don't have the luxury of quote unquote fitting in or being passive.
Exactly.
And I just let them know, you know, I'm down with the rainbow. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm one of the letters. I'll let you know later. I love that.
I like that too. You know, that's why I developed the masculine part of me. Like that's like my shell, my defense, because I had to be so guarded because you know I'm like I'm not gonna let anybody that can beat me up or bully me or belittle me at a young age. So I developed a hard masculine shell to be defensive and ready to fight because I'm not no punk. And that's where I'm not ever gonna be one. So I had to develop that masculine in me to be like, you know what, you gotta let none of you ain't no punk. You know, you gotta show that you are a man. You still are a man at the end of the day. Right. You maybe you are a unique individual, but you're still a man. Right. You still got balls like they do. You got the same GLT they do. Let them know, hey, I got the same thing you got. So you know.
And you know, I think so. I'll tell you this: the only. Just because I think that, and that's the other thing that I love that comes with age, right? Is knowing you have a deeper knowing of yourself. So I'm gonna tell y'all the 2 ways that I know I can show up in masculine energy. Only these 2, the best way, the best 2 ways I can do that. So the first way is I can show up with my voice if I need to. Because I can Barry White that if I really need. I can Barry White that.
I'm Barry White.
Right? Okay, that's number 1. The second way is in a photo where I'm not talking. And I just stand the right way. So there's, you know, so I present in those 2 ways. Everything else, I feel like there is a there's very female loving, almost motherly loving me about a lot of things. So you know, I mean, oh, and then the third way, actually, no, let me, the third way, I think I show up kind of in the middle, to be completely honest. It's my anger. It's a little, it's like a little, it's a little in the middle, but a little masculine, because I think it's a little aggression in there, but, but those are, you know, those are the best ways I can do that. But I think the best way to just show up in both energies is as yourself.
Absolutely.
Just show up as who you are, and the right people will love you and respect you and value you the way that you are.
Yes, they will.
And that's why one thing, by the way, to end this beautiful reunion, this is one thing that attracted me to Jasper, that attracted me to RJ, that attracted me to Isaiah, is that they were genuinely themselves in whatever space they occupied. And in the space that we occupied before, you guys were your true, authentic self. And you were authentic then, and you're authentic now. And that's what we should always offer the world, no matter if we're masculine or feminine or gender nonconforming.
Absolutely.
That's so nice. Yeah. You look at my heart in that dark shell.
Oh my God. See, here comes Jasper.
I'm going to cut him.
Oh my God.
And RJ, we thank you again for your time.
Yes.
And for reuniting with us again.
My pleasure.
Absolutely.
My pleasure. Absolutely. I'm so happy to do this with you guys, and y'all have actually got me back on track, because I have not done anything like this in this capacity in forever. It feels like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all get me back on track with all of this.
But get back.
Look at us.
Oh, you know, also what I wanted to let our viewers know, that RJ, talking about getting back on track, is doing. He does is it a web series?
Yeah, a web series on YouTube.
A web series on YouTube called Boy Drama.
Yes.
RJ is an actor.
Yes, he acts his little behind off. That's right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys should check that out, Boy Drama.
Yeah, check it out
on YouTube.
Yeah. And where can and RJ, is there social media where our listeners can go and find Boy Drama as well?
Yes. So just type in Don Bon, so that's DONBON, and then space it out, and then type Boy Drama, and then you'll see it. The channel will pop up, and you'll get all of that content there.
I'm happy watching.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, check it out, y'all. Y'all gonna enjoy yourself. Y'all gonna take on a wild ride.
Exactly. And we can't wait to have you on again. I know it's the first time you come, but we can't wait to have you on again.
Yes.
Reuniting.
Look, I'm just getting comfortable, so y'all definitely gotta have me back. Shoot.
Okay, you already know.
Reunited and it feels good. Yes.
Until next time, everybody. RJ, thank you again.
Thank you, RJ.
I love you guys.
Love you too, RJ. You
America.
Bye-bye.
Love, peace, and soul.